In order to file for divorce in Alabama, you have to go to the courthouse or use the online court filing system and file what is called a complaint for divorce. The person who files will be listed as the plaintiff and the other spouse will be listed as a defendant. Of course, that feels kind of weird because you're listed as the adversary to your spouse, but in order to properly get through the divorce process, that is how things have to begin. You'll have to fill out other paperwork and certain requirements will have to be fulfilled in order for the divorce to be finalized, but the first step is doing that filing. In Alabama, you must have been a resident for at least 6 months before you file for divorce. So you can't move to Alabama, live there for a month, and then hope that maybe your divorce will get finalized 6 months later. It would be void. At least one of the parties must have lived in Alabama for 6 months before that divorce complaint is filed. In an Alabama divorce, the petitioner or the plaintiff is the one who is officially asking the court to divorce the parties. And they ask for everything that they want in that initial filing. Just because they ask for it doesn't mean that the court is going to give it to them. But that's the technical thing that you would do to start a divorce. The respondent or the defendant is initially defending their claim against the petitioner, but typically they also file what's called a counterclaim, and they are a counter petitioner, and they're asking the court for whatever it is that they want in the divorce as well. A spouse can file for divorce anytime, any day, with or without the consent of the other spouse. They will file the action with the court, and the spouse, if they are not in agreement, they will get served by a sheriff or a process server, and the mechanism will have started whether they like it or not. The biggest and most important step in getting a divorce in Alabama is actually making the decision that you want a divorce. The only person who knows whether that time is right is you. Once you have made the decision and drawn that line in the sand, you get all your paperwork together, all of your biographical information, just like you were applying for any other government-related service. And we put together a petition for divorce for you, and we file it. And after that, there are certain time limits that the statutes say have to run before things can happen. So there's a minimum of 30 days in the divorce process before anything can be finalized. But typically there are other time limits that will come into play that we will guide you through along the way in the process. The last step of the process is getting what is called your judgment of divorce or your divorce decree. But in between are a lot of procedural hoops that we help guide you through.